under this administration, do you think anything will come out? Because they seem to be so partisan. They both work in a vacuum. They don't work together.
No, not in this administration. And the bill that was put forth, the Republican bill, which had no teeth, and it had that black senator as the face of the bill, and everything was supposed to be wonderful. And of course, the Democrats didn't want it. So nothing's going to happen. And we only have 5 months. And hopefully the polls are right, and the polls will be validated by the election, hopefully. Not like the last time, where the polls turned out not to mean anything. So, or to mean the opposite.
Well,
no, I don't think so.
Brave. So what do we do in the meantime?
We hope for the best. That nothing, as I said, I hope nothing totally disastrous happens in the next 5 months, and yet I think he's trying his best to bring that about for whatever reasons, known only to him and the Russian KGB. So.
We read the other day about the Republicans are pushing Biden to have five of these debates, and I guess they got 4 on the books, and we keep thinking that Biden should give him none. Don't
Right.
give Trump any debates.
Right, that's not going to happen.
Because what can Trump promise? Nothing. All he can do is get on there and criticize Biden. And Biden has to put forth the things that he will do if he gets the job and things like that. Well, Trump has had the job, and all he can do is keep depressing and suppressing and jailing and killing people one way or the other. So I'm sort of hoping that they'll get off of this debate thing, because right now Biden is doing all right by not debating him, no matter how many times Trump criticized him about being home, hiding in the closet and all that. And Trump's the one that's hiding in the corner.
Well, he's in the bunker when things.
Right.
Oh,
right.
yeah.
He went in the bunker. Yeah.
I actually agree with you, Ray. I do not believe there should be presidential debates. I actually believe that what you do is you set out your platform, you keep reinforcing your platform, because we're going to have enough work to do no matter what happens come November and then January,
To restore the government.
where you're going to have to start thinking about how are you stimulating the economy. You're going to have to start thinking about all the executive orders that were in place that should really be reinforced and made into law.
Mm-hmm.
We know that you're going to have pandemics unless we work on clean air and clean water.
Mm-hmm.
You know, all those laws have been overturned. So we're going to have to work as a global community, communicating with everyone.
Right. Not only that.
So that we can establish policies that affect the entire globe.
Right.
Because everything we do in any country affects another country.
Oh, sure. And we have to restore our status that is totally shredded with the European powers that he has alienated. So there's that. And then on Fox, they asked him what his policies were for his second election. He gave a rambling, distorted answer, something about driving down Main Street, and then he was new to Washington, D.C. Made no sense at all. In a way, I think he's going to just be there to call names, to call Biden names. And that, what good is that going to do? Biden will have a sound policy And he will not. He will be rambling. I don't know if this is a fantasy of mine or a dream come true, but I hope that that's what happens if there is, and there will be a debate. So.
I agree with Ray, though. There should be no debates.
Oh, no, I said that too. I said that from the very beginning. Biden should not debate him, but he's going to. And of course, I don't know. I don't know. It might not end as badly as I think it will.
Oh, no.
Maybe I'm underestimating Biden,
I remember it's going to be a repeat of 2016. Okay?
That's the playbook that he's using. But now he has a record, and now he has a different opponent. He doesn't have a woman with baggage. He's got another white guy who's also very relatable. So,
but you're dealing with the same person, Cora. You're dealing with Trump. Trump is not playing by any rule other than his own rule. So Biden, he still has, okay, you can't prove collusion with Russia, but Russia is still another actor.
Oh, yes, definitely. And I think the collusion will be proven at some point. I just don't know how or when, and I'm hoping that it will be soon. Next week would be quite nice.
Well, they'd have to get Barr out of there first.
Right. Barr. Bill Barr.
Yeah, I feel this is when you talk about miscarriage of justice, that's it.
Yes,
This is
criminal. It's criminal.
That's a repeat of Nixon on steroids. That Nixon was not as bad. There were things that Nixon did that were really good.
Yeah, well, he was a statesman.
Yeah. And I think that's what we're lacking, is we're lacking statespeople. We're being too hardened on ideology, and nobody's thinking common sense or what's good for all parties.
Right.
Teddy Roosevelt believed in equal justice. If it was good enough for one class, it was good enough for another class.
Wow.
Should have been. Yeah.
Yes, it should have been. It's funny how that didn't translate well down through the population. But it's a nice idea.
But it's the right thing to do, right?
Yes, right.
Right? Equal justice. If you wouldn't do this to your best friend, well, then maybe you should do it to this other person either.
Right.
Certainly the color of someone's skin doesn't matter.
Right, it should not. But it's become, like masks, it's become an anti-cultural thing for some people.
Though we know it's a virus. I call it, we're on COVID time. Anyone says to me, when will this happen? I'm like, I don't know. This is time.
Oh, right. That's true.
Right?
That's true.
Our lives, so knowing that nothing can go back to normal because we have a pandemic in our midst, and it's global. And it's interesting that the meatpacking plants in Germany also had 1,500 people testing positive.
Oh my goodness.
You didn't read
they kept,
Wow.
The interesting thing about the German people, though, is they're angry because they're angry that meatpacking plant
was kept open.
Was kept open, put all these lives in jeopardy.
Right.
Now they've got to look at the surrounding provinces and quarantine like 500,000 people where they were reopening.
Oh my goodness.
And the public is demanding that the owner of the meatpacking plant make restitution.
Oh my goodness, that's the end of him.
To both the employees
and
to the community.
right,
So they have a very strict rule on accountability. You know, they
right.
also legislate for hate crimes.
Oh,
You're not allowed to use hate in public speech in Germany. You cannot incite violence. It's against the law.
well, we have legislation against hate crimes, but once the crime is committed, right?
We have no
Oh,
enforcement.
yeah, you can't do anything
A
for.
little bit different, right?
Right? You don't have enforcement.
Right. You don't have regulations,
Right. It
right?
depends on who commits the violation, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
If you're a white supremacist, nobody shoots you.
Right.
Mm,
Right.
right.
Who are they scared of? Nobody.
Right.
So why should it be that an African American, a Black, a Hispanic, an Asian,
Right.
a Jewish temple, a mosque, we should all be
Right.
fair game for everyone else, and there's no enforcement?
Right. Because the attitude is pervasive, as we talked about before. It's in the enforcers themselves, and that is big part of the problem as I can see it.
So it's re-education,
Right.
and it's already taking generations, right? I mean, it's a long time
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
since
Yeah.
the Civil War,
Yeah.
right?
Right. Yes.
So one of the things that happens in one of the Scandinavian countries, I don't know if it's the Netherlands or Denmark, one of the reasons childcare is so inexpensive
Oh.
because they want you to be able to go to work, leave your child at a young age, 3 years old, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and they start inculcating societal norms. They teach them their history, they teach them their culture. So
Mhm.
you are growing up learning what all about your society so that you're cohesive. We're
Mhm.
not doing that. Our education is fragmented.
Right.
That should be on the federal level. You got one textbook. You want to debate in your particular region, whatever was important to you, well, that's good for analytical thinking and debate. But you got one textbook for the entire nation, and that's what everyone should learn, it seems to me. And that's where we're missing the whole united we stand, because we fragmented ourselves into all the states. That's why you got to set it to begin with, so that everyone has equal representation.
Well, you know that the United States was actually a federation up until the Civil War. It was kind of like Europe. You know, people's states was more important to them than the country. The country didn't exist actually as a whole. And after the Civil War, it started to, but you still have the, and then of course with the highway system, and we can thank Eisenhower for that. That was a big help. And of course now we have telecommunications. So.
But we didn't see, Eisenhower didn't realize, I don't think he realized that he was institutionalizing racism when he set about to make a transportation system and put people to work. I don't know if you,
Oh, well that,
you know,
yeah, that part of it, right.
I don't know that it might have been Robert Moses' intent, that I can't say.
Uh-huh.
But I think that the original intent with Eisenhower was 500,000 boys are coming back. We need a place for them to work. And that's when they developed the GI Bill for going back to school. And we did that massive road construction.
But he also saw the highway system that connected Europe, and that we didn't have that. All we had were dirt roads and a series of little routes that connected up with other little routes, you know, so You had to be a civil engineer to get from 2 or 3 states away,
Right. So it was,
and a cartographer.
right. So theoretically, look, we have a lot of things that we know are wrong.
Hmm.
We can use, we have the capacity to use artificial intelligence, massive data, destroy what we know doesn't work, and build up what does. You know, we're smart. We're in the 21st century.
Right.
We have to live back in another century with other mores and
Right.
other modes of transportation. Some people, transportation is the key to work for them.
Oh,
and
yeah.
they don't have any transportation.
Right.
So
And that's a carrier of diseases too, as well. So it's unfortunate, but there it is.
you can't
Yeah.
link the two, honey, because it doesn't even matter. It's not even relevant.
Mhm.
The disease is in the air.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah, it's there.
It's there. There, according to Fauci, when we saw our first case, it was probably 10,000 cases.
Behind.
Right.
So
Right.
that's why in South Korea, in Singapore, in all these other nations, in Israel, in Germany, everyone that's backtracking on what they're doing, it's
Mhm.
like, oh my God, we got 48 hours. We got to see who's in contact with who.
Right.
Where have you been?
Where have you been? Who
They're
did,
saying that the amount of cases that are recorded, which is roughly 2-something million, is 10 times more, or it's under what has actually happened. And I know that in my own family, Heather, Todd, and Caitlin were not recorded. They just consulted doctors and they knew they had it, but they are not in the hospitalization records. So you multiply that by 10 times, and they're saying that there are over 20 million cases, and not 2 million. Not 2 million, 20 million. So,
You would think that people, even if you didn't believe in the mask and the distances, that looking at what's happened since those 10 states have opened up, it seemed to me like they would stop and rethink. Maybe those masks do help you because everything started up again. It's the mask and the touching and the distances. You need them.
you have to have it.
right, but
You need them.
they don't want to deprive themselves.
But
It's a deprivation.
Their
And
constitutional rights.
right. So they're saying I have a right to go out there and infect other people and get myself infected and possibly die. That wonderful. Where did this come from?
it is a philosophy that I really don't understand.
No.
An anti-vaxxer, right?
Oh, yes.
You have to have 95% or more of your population must have a vaccine, have all the vaccinations
Right.
before they
Working.
go to school. Now,
Right.
we've already seen what happens when communities opt out. People
Mhm.
die.
Yes.
People do. Yep.
They get very sick. And,
For the greater good, there has to be federal laws.
right. Federal implementation.
Right. But unfortunately, we have a government that is absolutely prepared to see people die.
Mhm. Right.
And,
That's right.
and only now am I hearing some Republican governors saying you have to wear a mask.
Right. The Florida, had to backtrack, and he's making some concessions that he didn't. He rushed things a little too much. It's incredible to hear that from him because he is a Trump ally.
So is Abbott in Texas. But I have to tell you, if the Houston Medical Center is being overburdened,
Oh,
we are talking about a lot of people. Remember when I was in Harris County in Houston? That's where all the medical complexes are aggregated. They come
Oh.
from all over the world, the South, the Midwest, the West. You've got every major hospital, every major research center is in Houston.
Wow.
Within a 3-mile radius, you may have, 20 unbelievably sophisticated research centers and hospitals.
Wow.
That's good.
But they're being overburdened,
Yeah.
So that's saying a lot.
right?